Writing Bastards podcast. We're going to talk about video games, stories in video games, and characters in video games. What games have the best ones? That's what we're going to do today. I'm Neil. I'm here with Drake. Um, let's get into it. Let's start with plots and stories, the ones that just have the best of that. I have some on my mind, but I'm curious if you have one that jumped out at you when you think of that question.
Plots, best plots. There's a bunch. There's several. Um, why don't you go first? You go first because I have a
The one
lot.
that comes to mind is Halo, man.
Uh,
Like,
what we got?
it's
Wait, immediately I have to ask. You stop at three, or you going past three? Like, what entitles it? Are you talking like Halo 4 or just up until Reach?
I mean, it's like Halo 3, then ODST, then Reach, right?
I think
So
so in the release order, yeah.
I stop at Reach.
Okay.
Nothing beyond
Okay. All
Reach.
right. I can agree with that. That's a pretty good.
You know what I mean? But really,
That's
like,
pretty good.
really, the first three was like
Mm,
a cohesive story, and
yes.
they're so good in those games. Like, I, the
For an
main character's
FPS, yeah.
awesome. Some of the other characters, like the Arbiter, are awesome.
Mm,
It's like a sci-fi world that's pretty iconic,
hmm
um, really well fleshed out, and they have Halo books. Like I've read some of them; they're actually good.
I like the Halo
Um,
books as well. I've read them too.
yeah, but that was kind of like after the fact, right? Like
hmm
the games came first, so they were good enough that people decided to make some books, and then the books were good too.
'Cause yeah, I
But
think what happened is I think it was all after the first Halo, actually, to be honest. Because now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of the cover art was of like the Combat Evolved era armor. So I think
mhm.
it was honestly between Halo 1 and 2, or maybe 2 had just released. Because yeah, I mean, the books talked about Reach. The one talked about like Halo where they fought the Flood, and then the other one covered this space between Halo 1 and 2, if I remember right, First Contact or something. There's more Halo books than that now, but those are the three I read.
Yeah. But it's just so good. Like I think
Mm,
like the idea of Halo rings is super interesting. It's mysterious. Like it's a driving point in the story that you want to figure it out, which that's a good thing to have in the story. Like adds this like ambient tension and pressure. And then the Flood is a super interesting like it's a very good implementation of like the swarm type of alien enemy that's common in sci-fi. But I thought it was just
mm,
really well done. Like they're super strong. They're kind of freaky, right? Like they like attach to you and stuff. And it's just really
hmm
well done. And then the Covenant's actually really complicated. So I feel like they
Yeah.
balance multiple factions. They all make sense. They're all interesting. Like surprisingly, a small amount of like things that don't make sense. Like I feel like the story makes more sense in Halo than it does for a lot of movies or TV shows, which is ridiculous because video games video games can have good stories, but they definitely don't need good stories. Like if the game's really
Like
fun.
Doom, where you just go around shooting stuff. It's just, yeah, I can
Like
agree to
they don't
that.
need it. It's totally an
hmm
extra thing, and yet it's better than a lot of other things that are basically all about the story.
Oh
So,
yeah. Halo is
yeah.
just a different thing because even its multiplayer in the first one was super unique, and it just they went really hard with Halo. They had no reason to, and they went all out, and it was phenomenal. Yeah, I love Halo. I think it's interesting with Halo too because they took like the swarm enemy with the flood. It's kind of like an alien swarm zombie because it can take up like the dead bodies of Marines and like elites and use them to fight you too. I thought that was always cool. It reminds me of like the Tyranids from Warhammer, only creepier and worse in a way. And then yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you. I loved Halo. I think Halo's cool. I mean, just the concept alone of having like these giant rings that are like kind of planets, but they're also these massive weapons of super destruction was they went so yeah, I'd agree. Halo. Even Reach I think was a super good it was a really depressing story, but I think Reach was really well done too. I liked that one a lot, but hmm. Like you started off too hard, dude. What the heck, man? Can't
My
believe
my other one,
Halo.
my my my
What's
my
next? Yeah,
other
what's
one
next?
that the other one that I think is really good. We've talked about this before is Warcraft, and
Ooh,
specifically Warcraft 3. You could add like
yeah.
some of World of Warcraft is also good too. Like the progression of the story
Mm-hmm.
is interesting, but mainly like Warcraft 3 is so good. It's like
Mm,
similar thing, a lot of tension, different factions that are all really interesting and unique, like well built out. And then the
mm,
characters are so like compelling. Arthas going from good to evil in a way that like you can like kind of understand. You can see the descent, and it's really cool.
mm,
And then it's like a subversion of how orcs normally are. Like orcs are normally just bad, but in Warcraft, you're actually sympathetic to them because they like go to Kalimdor and like create a new land and they break free of like the demons who are controlling them, and like Thrall, like the war leader, is really cool as he, used to be like imprisoned and then ends
mm-hmm.
up like leading the horde. It's like all those things are so interesting. Like they do so many subversions, like Arthas going from good to evil, Thrall going from like
Mm,
traditionally evil orc to good, and then someone like Sylvanas, who's like a elf,
mm-hmm.
dies and then gets turned into an undead, and then she kind of becomes
Oh
evil.
yeah,
So it's
that's
like
right. Yeah,
so many things like that that are just super dope.
really good
And
subversions too. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it,
yeah,
yeah, ooh. Yeah, and not just any like Arthas falling, a paladin. That was, I think, the first real paladin that flopped like that.
and then
Oh
ends up becoming like
man,
an undead leader, right? It's like literally the
yeah,
opposite.
yeah.
Yeah.
Went from holy to pretty much as unholy, and yeah, wow, what the
I
heck?
think it's a good example of taking a familiar fantasy setting
Mm,
and then just not making it something that's not recognizable as fantasy, but just something that's interesting, slightly new take on it. Um,
dang,
so it's
wow,
awesome.
you went that hard. Wow. Now I don't
I
know.
thought of the
I'm
best
not
ones,
sharing
man.
my list now. Just never mind. What the freak, man? Gosh, no. So I have a couple that I thought were like pretty good games. The the first one I'll bring up, I don't know if you've played it. Um, I didn't play the original of it. I'm playing technically it's the remake of it. I used to think these games were all super stupid too and made no sense, and I had absolutely no interest to play them. And then on PlayStation, it was just free 1 month, so I downloaded it, decided to play it, and it's Final Fantasy VII. I
Mm.
just thought these were like some stupid RPG like games from Japan that were just like overhyped and weird. I mean, but I was wanting to play Kingdom Hearts, but I don't want to like I have them all on like PlayStation 2, but I don't have my PS2. I have a PS5. So I was like, I was looking for like that fill-in game, and I was looking for especially the combat. I really like the combat in Kingdom Hearts. Found Final Fantasy VII, so I was like, like. But this game, dude, I am solidly impressed with it. It's a very cinematic game. I kind of can get annoying with that, but the characters in it it's just been me playing it and like wow, just shocked. Like wow, the voice acting was really good, but the characters themselves really drew me into it. Like I'm like, oh, I don't necessarily care as much to fight in this game, and I want to just know what happens next. Like really sucked me in. I mean, because you have like Cloud, who's an ex-soldier. You don't really know why. He runs into Aerith, who talks to flowers, which I was like thought was super weird at first, and then come to find out she's like this ancient that can heal the planet, and she's kind of like your tropey like hilly sweet girl. Then you have like Tifa, who's this like spicy boxing girl who knew Cloud growing up, and his like arch enemy Sephiroth is like you don't know if he's real or not because Cloud has like this Mako poisoning and he's delusional a bit, and he sees him and then he's gone, and then he's here and then he's gone. Then you have Barrett who has his little daughter who he like really loves, and there's it's just all this like character dynamic going on, that I did not expect. And as I played it more, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you start feeling like sympathetic when someone dies because you've been doing all these quests to help them, and then they just chunk are dead, and you're like, oh my gosh. You feel like the emotion, and I think, and it's not like in a cheap way. It's like a very like, wow, like dang. And the characters are very just grounded in themselves. I was like, dude, I didn't think I'd ever like these games, but now I'm like it
Dude,
sucks
Final,
me in.
I feel like that's a lot of people's favorite is seven, is what I've heard. I've never played it,
Dude,
but that's like kind of the
it's
classic, I feel like.
I can
Yeah.
see why. I mean, just I think the characters are super. I didn't play the original, so I can't say to the original. I've watched parts of it, but just the remake I'm playing, and if, I'm like 100, I think I'm 98% done. I have like one boss left. But I think that one alone is the characters. I mean, the setting is really cool where you have kind of these like people are harvesting the planet for this energy. I think that's a pretty stereotypical trope, right? In certain like fantasy, or I don't know if you'd classify Final Fantasy VII as fantasy or sci-fi fantasy because it's like futuristic, but you use swords, but there's magic. I don't think they know what genre it was supposed to be, but that really has impressed me. I mean, because and it's a cinematic game. I feel like you have to like really get invested into them. But now I'm like, wow, like just shocked how good it is because it's not. It doesn't feel like artificial, like where someone falls in love with someone instantaneously or our relationship suddenly improves. No, like I think Barrett at the beginning of the game, he doesn't really like Cloud. He's a ex-soldier and they hate Shinra and Cloud used to work with Shinra because he's an ex-soldier and so Barrett doesn't trust him. But then as Cloud saves some people, helps some people, he kind of like Barrett. You get to this reaction and interaction between the two where you can see Cloud kind of redeems himself in Barrett's eyes until the point where Barrett's like, yeah, he's kind of like a brother to him. He gets this really like close bond with him, which is really cool to see. Um, so yeah, I think that's probably I don't know if I'd say that's my top one, but I'm definitely I was shocked. I was thinking this game was going to be a 2 out of 10 for me, and I'm ranking it more of like a 9. Like, we'll see after I beat it if my opinion changes, but I'm like, shiz, like, it's to the point where I just want to buy the because it's like the remake and then there's Rebirth. I just pretty much just want to buy Rebirth and go right into it because it's that, like, draws me in enough. So,
Yeah,
that is my first one. But,
that makes sense. I mean, I played like Final Fantasy 1 and 2, which are basically like
oh, I've never
super
played those
old,
ones.
but they
Yeah.
they like remade them on Game Boy, and
Oh, yes, they
so it's
did.
old enough to get a remake on a Game Boy. But
It's probably need a
yeah,
remake from the Game Boy now.
they were good.
So,
One more that came to my mind that's an all-time great story.
mhm.
I don't think this is controversial. Is Gears of War. I don't know if
Oh,
you
dude,
played
what you're
through
playing
those
the
stories.
Xbox exclusives right now, dude.
I'm just
Gears
saying
of
that was
War
the
is
golden
sick
era, man.
too. Yeah,
That was when
Gears of
games were
War,
totally
so
good.
good,
Like super
so
intense
good.
premise, like feels really high
Oh,
stakes, like it's desperate, like almost like zombie type of stuff, which
yeah.
is always a fun setting. And then the
Mm-hmm.
characters super good, the voice acting like just puts people in these
Mm-hmm.
terrible situations. And like the guys in it, they're kind of like these like just like marine like tough guy looking dudes, but
Yeah.
really deep characters. And a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
shooter games, again, they don't try to do that because you don't need to. You can make a cool game without it. Um, but
dude.
so good in Gears.
A lot of the games that I'm thinking of from that era that now are FPS, like the original Black Ops and stuff, they had kind of like this golden era of first person shooters that had really good stories. I mean, that's kind of what you're making me realize is that that was like a gold time for first person shooters because like I don't know if you consider this a shooter. It's I guess it's more RPG, but Mass Effect like 1 and 2, I really did
Yeah.
not like 3. 3 kind of dropped the ball in my opinion. It did not, but the first two, oh my heck. Like I
They're
thought those
good.
had amazing stories. I can't tell you how many times I have played Mass Effect 1 and 2. I actually tried to do a speed run of Mass Effect. I beat it in like 2.5 hours, dude. Like I have played that game to death. And same with the second one. Like I love them both. I like the second one the best. I think that's like the peak of them because you have this super vast teammate, like team or squad or whatever you want to call them. English is not happening in my brain right now. Um, and you have all these different characters, all these different backgrounds, all these different specialties. They like will clash with each other, and you're going on like on a suicide mission to recruit these people, and you just like run into all these interesting problems because you're fighting the collectors who are these like alien harvesting people bugs, like super cool. And then
I
just the
think
fact that you can have deep interactions with every single character and like learn about their family, their history. Some of them you can the romance, whatever. Like I just
if
think
you're a
that was,
weirdo, you can
hey,
do some Sims in game. I'm just kidding.
it's all hey, I'm not a person to judge, dude. I mean, those games, I actually, you're like, this is off topic, but one of the people in Mass Effect, she was in Chuck. It's like this TV show I used to watch growing up, and when I found out she was in the second Mass Effect, is she's Miranda Lawson. I didn't know you could. My like 13-year-old brain was like, oh my gosh, I was stupid, man. I'm sorry, but
Man.
that game was super fun at the time. I loved it. I mean,
They
like
were
to this
made
day,
by like BioWare, and that
BioWare.
was that was definitely a company that sort of brought like story role playing into the
Hmm.
mainstream. And that was fun. Like all their
Yes.
games usually have some sort of like decision making that affects different things. And
Yeah.
I think that's nice in the game setting.
I think that made them
Uh,
so fun. Like Knights of the Old Republic. That was another one on my list too
yep,
with Mass
yep.
Effect. Because I think Mass Effect, I feel like Knights of the Republic is kind of their like first kind of like trial games. Because you could like affect the story, but I feel like two, like Mass Effect 2 was the peak. Because so much that you could do or didn't do could just mess up the story or make it like work. I mean, I've like looked through it a few times because like if you assign people on the suicide mission to like roles that they're not good at, they can die. If you don't do all these missions for them, they will die. If you don't do these random side quests, like going and finding a fish for someone, then they go to the mission and they're sad because they never had a fish and then they die. It's like, it's a little dramatic maybe, but I was like, I love that because it's like you really had to get invested with these characters. And you just feel like they're really like your family in a sense or your team. Like I feel like closer than team by the end of it. I mean, because I remember in Mass Effect 3 when they killed off like Thane, the like or he's like the green assassin guy. I was pissed, man. I was like, dude, he's like one of my favorite characters. He was a bad A, but
You
yeah.
know what game I think feels like it should have a good story but doesn't is Baldur's Gate 3.
No, dude.
Have you
Yeah.
played that? Have you played that one?
I have played Baldur's Gate 3. I'm like, where am I at on it? I don't know exactly how it ends, but I'm decently far in it. But it
Yeah.
feels
So
disjointed to me. It feels kind of like Act 1 is its own story, Act 2 is its own
yeah.
story. It doesn't feel like they overarch into some big plot at the end.
So it's a super fun game, obviously.
Hmm.
Like if you want
It's
like
like
an RPG, you should just play it because it's probably the closest thing to like upscale D&D in a game form, right?
it's
It's
no,
super
dude. It
awesome.
is D&D in game form. Like you roll the dice, you do the movement
Well,
almost. It's
I,
the
I I'm
same.
just saying it's got
It's
the best graphics. Like
yeah.
that type of game has
Oh,
existed for a long time, but this is
you're
the best
true.
version of it. So like obviously
Phenomenal
it's fun.
graphics. Hmm.
But like the characters are some of them are interesting and it's sort of fun to go through the story with them, but it's
Hmm.
nothing to the degree of other games that I've played where I actually think about the story and think it's interesting. Like Baldur's Gate is just like bad, generically bad aliens with like some plot twists that you see coming from a mile away who
Yeah.
kind of just want to destroy the world, and you're just gonna like kill everyone who's bad because you're stronger than all of them. Like
Mm,
it was weird. And maybe part of the problem is that it's like too RPG. Like BioWare is
mm,
a little bit RPG element with it, but Baldur's Gate's like so customizable and like so transactional that it's almost like the story just can't take front and center. And it's just not what you're gonna think about. But
mm.
maybe that's not a good, I don't know, because like Warcraft 3 is very like sweaty. You gotta click like like you're playing an RTS, like you're
Very
moving the mouse a bunch
sweaty.
and you're doing all
Yeah,
your
it is.
hotkeys, right? It's like when you're playing
Yeah.
the game, you're truly not thinking about the story, and yet the story's still good. So I don't know why it
Mm,
didn't do it for me. I'm having a hard time putting my finger on it, but maybe the story's just kind of generic, I guess, and
mm.
the characters maybe.
I think so
Yeah,
with
I don't
Warcraft,
know, honestly. Yeah.
the
I
thing
I
I'd say
couldn't
with
tell you.
sorry. The thing I say with Warcraft is I think the reason why it works better, even though it's like you said, sweaty, is because you have a cut scene at the beginning of every mission or whatever you want to call it, level, right? It's like a maybe 1 to 5 minute cutscene. You get that at the end when you win, and that intro kind of gives you the like, oh, like we're the orcs, we're gonna go, we have to kill these people down here. So then you like cut in and you have to build all the bases, then you go fight them and kill them, and then afterwards we killed the people. It's kind of like they give you what you're supposed to do, and then if you win, it's like the celebration. But you have to do all the middle work. I think that's why World of Warcraft 3 works because you have that constant reminder of like, and even while you're playing, it's like you're going towards the objective, right? I think Baldur's Gate, the thing that I have noticed is they made it so D&D heavy that it really, I would agree, it does take away from the story. I think the other thing they spent more time on was it's less about the story and more about your personal interaction with the characters. I think that's where they kind of, I don't want to say screwed up because I don't think they screwed up. I think Baldur's Gate is a huge success. I mean, you can't say it's a huge
Yeah,
success, but
again, like not all games need to have good stories. Some games don't have any story and it's fine.
because if you look at the
But yeah.
characters, dude, the characters in Baldur's Gate are very well developed. Real interesting plots, I feel like, for the majority of them. Um, Definitely deep plots for a good chunk of them. I think the problem you start running into is the mechanics, the D&D mechanics kind of like wrench the smooth narrative it could have. It's kind of like jarring. Like, I think honestly, if, and this is kind of like out there, my opinion, if they had two combat modes, if they had like the traditional D&D mode, and then maybe more of like what Final Fantasy VII has, where it's like you can hack and slash, but then you build up abilities and you can select the abilities and then you attack, kind of like a, I don't know what you'd call that. It's still like an RPG, but it's more like a fast-paced RPG. Maybe like how Knights of the Old Republic even was. I think you would see people enjoying the story more because then they would get less caught up in all the like inventory management, spell assignment, leveling up. I think that is they because that's a huge part of D&D anyway, and that's time
Yeah.
consuming in D&D. I That's one thing that I
I don't
noticed.
I don't know
What?
though, because like I feel like the gameplay can be as minute and like
Mm,
involved as like an RTS and you can still have a good story. So
mm,
maybe it's something about how you're not or you're controlling the story too much and you're controlling like the characters too much
mm,
because you can basically manipulate the character's progress and
yeah.
like I think that so I think it's partially that because like in other games like Halo for example it's like you don't know what some of the other characters are going to do and that
Hmm.
actually to me makes them feel more real because it's like
Mm,
actually a different person. Whereas I feel like in Baldur's Gate, like you control them all and like you
uh,
manipulate the interactions they have. So
mm,
maybe that makes, And like again, like if you just want to explore character depth, of course it's fun, but it doesn't
Hmm.
contribute to like a plot, I guess.
So you
And
kind of
then
like
I
that
I
random stuff, the like random interactions that could happen because like I have a certain belief and you have a varying belief that's different,
yeah,
so normally we would clash. You don't
yeah.
like that the fact that it can be like persuade them to be okay with each other, natural 20, and they're like loves and kisses. Like, is that
Yeah,
what you think?
and I do think the main plot line is boring in Baldur's Gate 3. Like
I would
I think it's
agree.
not I think it's not interesting. That's probably like the big issue. Like
Yeah, I
the
don't,
general
yeah.
premise is just sort of like whatever. Like
But I feel
so
like
that's
I'm like 70 hours into the game, and I feel like I'm still kind of like, so what are we doing again?
yeah. That's probably the issue. Like I think there's other games like even like Dragon Age, it's very similar to Baldur's Gate in some ways. Like again, sort of like a
Which Dragon Age?
I think it's also BioWare. But it's like fantasy RPG and
Oh no,
like
no, sorry, sorry. Which ones? Which ones? Sorry.
oh, which one?
I've
I'm
played
thinking of
most of them, but
the
okay, the
first
first
Dragon
one.
Age.
Okay, Origins.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, 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 okay. Oh, I love that one. That's a good
Um,
one too.
but like even that premise is it's basic, but it's more interesting of like bunch of like undead evil things are gonna like overwhelm, and
Mm,
so like you're running out of time and you gotta like figure out how to prevent it. Like that's
true.
I don't know why. Like it sounds like it's the same story as Baldur's Gate, but like it just felt like more
Mm,
intense.
but
Whereas I
there's
feel
no
like
pressure in Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate started off as like sci-fi mind flayer stuff, and then you land and it's sort of like, okay, like maybe I need to do something, but like it's not too clear. And then they
Hmm.
kind of like beat your brow over like, oh, this impending thing is happening, you need to like go solve it. And like I would rather just intuitively understand that rather than like have somebody in the story keep like telling me it and like being like your mind is like
Mm.
whatever,
You
I'm like, okay,
played,
I get it, I
yeah.
know I have something in my mind. I think mind flayers are just in general like not that interesting, maybe is my issue.
I think the
like
other
like they're not that
issue,
scary.
no, they're not scary. I think they're scary in Demon Souls. If you've ever played Demon Souls, they have mind flayers in that one, dude. They make me crap my pants.
Mm.
They're weird. They're freaky. I think the whole environment in that one thing is freaky. But I think another thing I've noticed with Baldur's Gate is they say you have the mind flayer, they say it's gonna kill you, but then about I'm trying to remember where it's at in the story. You meet that guardian person, and the guardian's like, "I will keep you alive, so this thing will never kill you." And so then it's kind of like, so like the
That's
urgency
true.
went down from like a 10 to like a
It's
2.
true.
Like I should get like the guardian doesn't say like I will endlessly protect you, but they're like I will make sure that like I'll do my best to keep this from killing you until like you get to here. Or like I can't remember how they phrase it, but basically to me it was like you can kind of like mess around and do some fun stuff. You don't have to just straight come to here, but like kind of have like a little sense of urgency. It's kind of like oh, we need to
That's
go
probably
grocery
the issue.
shopping. You need to go pick up some milk, but you still have a little bit left, so you could last a few days without it. Like I think that's what killed it for
Yeah.
me was like because in Dragon Age Origins, it's like you can literally see on the map as you travel, like they just slowly consume the entire map, and you're like, oh, I can't do anything fast enough. Like, I think that
Yeah.
added a lot to it in Dragon Age because I remember that one. Yeah.
That's true. That's probably I remember also being kind of like that was a letdown. Took the urgency out of the plot when they just make your main
Hmm.
problem not the main problem anymore.
And with
And I
that
I
too,
guess
there's
I guess or the other thing I was gonna say is you know how there's like the four evil people or whatever who are
yeah.
like holding the different things you need to collect. Like you also know that those people are like not as scary as the mind flayers, and so you don't take them seriously. I think that's a mistake. Like they would have been
Mm.
cooler if they would have just been actually the bad people, and you have to try and stop them rather than like here's these bad people we're introducing that are cool, but like the real bad
Mm.
thing is the original bad guy from the beginning that doesn't even feel intense and bad anymore. I think that's maybe
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and I would
Yeah.
agree with your D&D mechanics getting in the way too, because one thing that just came to mind is like if a party member dies, as long as I have a scroll of revivify, I can give them back, right? But I can understand if those are limited, right? Let's say there's only like 10 in the whole game, right? Okay, that's fine to me. Like I think you should have enough of like revives so like if you accidentally just messed up, you're not like, huh, all my favorite teammates are dead. Like no, I'm against. I don't think that should happen. But I found out in the game, if you don't have Revivify, there's this like mummy looking dude at the camps. You have to like find him. He's like, I can bring them back for a certain fee. And I'm like, oh. So like no one's really dead. Whereas in like Mass Effect, if someone died in the second one, they're dead. In the first one, when you have to choose between like Caden and Ashley, one of them is dead. Like they detonate an atomic or a nuclear bomb and they die. Done. And you have to make the choice too. And so you have to like live with that. And it really, they didn't screw up in that because they really just like grind that into you that like you're the one that killed someone. It's like through all three
Hmm.
games till the very end, they're always like, oh yeah, Lieutenant so and so died because you told him to. Like, and I think that just
Yeah.
reminds you that like, oh yeah, maybe I regret that call, maybe I don't,
Yeah. I think that's Mass Effect is good. Should we
Mm.
transition to talking about characters specifically? So
Yeah, we can talk about yeah.
I I think that good video game characters do not always go hand in hand with good video game plots.
I
Again,
would
because like
agree.
you don't, not all games need a plot to be interesting or good. So some of them
Hmm
just don't have it straight up. And some games have really iconic, interesting characters you care about, but the
hmm
story's kind of like whatever, but you just want to see them
hmm
like in the game doing stuff.
Would agree.
So like a good example of that is like Kratos,
Oh
like
God.
ridiculously iconic.
Yeah.
People really like him. Like, yeah, like God of War has some interesting stories, but I don't think that's like the thing people care about the
Yeah.
most. Like, you don't hear about that, but it's that he's cool.
Mm.
And so that's kind of what makes the game fun.
I was gonna
Um,
say the first three God of Wars are basically just hack and slash, like not real complicated games, like just kill all the Olympians. I think they got more into the storytelling with the recent ones because the first three
yeah.
was just like brutal, violent, bloody. Basically, that's all the whole game was. Like they were fun. I remember playing them. They were pretty fun games. Kratos, yeah, no, I'd agree with Kratos. I think he's really iconic. And I have to say, I think it came out at a really good time because they also had the 300 movie come out around those games too. So, like,
Yeah.
Sparta just got ultra hyped during that time. So, that was a real good, like, just a window opportunity, like, once in a lifetime kind of a thing you'll see happen. So, I think those games did exceptionally well.
I
Oof.
I don't think people realize unless you were there and like conscious during that time, like old enough to get it.
Oh, yeah.
Like basically people our age and like a little bit older than us, like how much of a phenomenon 300 was when it came out. Like that was very iconic,
The workout,
insane.
people
Like
wanted to do the workout, everything.
people
Like,
were quoting it all the time. Like that was huge. Um
oh yeah. I wasn't even that
and
old either
it's
when that came out too. I think I was like, oh, I had to be like 10 to 13, I think. Like,
it's like us and like 10 years older than us, I feel
yeah,
like, are the people
yeah,
who were probably really excited about
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But and maybe older people too. I don't know. There's probably some enjoyers, but I feel like it was really like,
yeah,
like young guys were like, "Oh my gosh."
dude.
Um
Yes,
and
I
it's
would
it's
agree.
weird because like if you like go back and watch it, like it's like a decent movie, but it's more about just that it was cool when it came out.
Dude, what that whole movie is basically like you could sum it up to be a pretty mediocre movie, but the problem is it's kind of just like one of these ultra I don't know if I want to say ultra masculine, but just the stuff they do. Like, you got these guys in these basically golden speedos, just jacked out of their minds, fighting these like kind of almost scary looking Persian army guys. Like, they look scary to me. Like, They just have like the Persian army has like a definite aesthetic compared to like Sparta. But like, dude, the one day I like does like the sword jump and his back's like freaking bending the whole way, kicks a dude down a hole for like absolutely no reason. Like he kills a
What
tiger. I think it's kind of like Conan the Barbarian. I think that's why it did so good. Is in essence it's kind of like that show, only that show on steroids because like even at the end when he like throws the spear, it goes like to slow-mo, and then that one dude from Lord of the Rings starts narrating like he does a good narrating. I think that made the movie really good too, is his narrating, and then he just takes the arrows at the like dude, that whole movie's just like I think that's how every guy just wants to live their life and die. For the majority of men, I think that's what they like daydream about is like dying and doing something glorious like that. And I think that's why.
so that had a real good aesthetic, huh?
Dude, it did. It did. I mean, it did. I heard those guys had to do like the glute burner 3000, man, to get those on them. Oh my
I
gosh,
mean,
dude.
I think part of why it's so stylized is it's like based on the comic too. Like it's like
Yes.
not just straight up like it's supposed to be historical. Um, but
Yeah.
anyway, uh, other characters I thought were also good. So an example of one who's really good in a good story is Master Chief. Like I'm just gonna go back to
Okay,
it
yeah, yeah. He's
because
pretty,
like
yeah.
he is awesome. I mean, he's maybe not like the most like deep character, but he's very well defined. Like you have a sense for who he is. He's like ultimately competent. I love that he doesn't take off his helmet in the proper Halo universe. I'm not talking about the TV show. Um,
Yeah. We don't even
but
go there. We're not going there. That's another
yeah,
video.
once Halo 4 came out, they diverged into something that's not Halo, so it's fine.
It's not Halo. It doesn't
Um,
count. Not canon. Fan fiction.
but yeah, and like the super soldier thing, like it's kind
Mm.
of a trope, but I really like the Halo version of super soldiers.
But it wasn't
Like I
tropey, I
thought
feel like, at the time as much. I feel like it was pretty unique when it came out.
that's
Especially
true.
that type of super soldier.
It's more like they kind of maybe made it into a trope more, but
Mm.
like he's cool. You know, he's kind of like an empathetic guy, like just a
Hmm.
really good guy and very good design. Like the vibes and just like what he looks like, what he sounds like all that's just become distinctive. And
Hmm.
like some people might say like, oh, the game is iconic, so like that's why he's iconic, but I don't think that's true. Like there's certain characters that just what they look like is different and interesting, and then they become memorable.
Hmm.
Um, so like examples like Gears of War, like you could argue that they're like kind of super soldiery, like sort of
Hmm.
vibes like that. But you don't remember them because of their super soldiery aesthetics.
No.
You remember them because of their personality. And Master Chief is kind of like less about the personality, more about just like his character design is really, really good and interesting.
I think he has
So
a lot of good character though too, because I think they're
he
kind of
definitely does. Yeah.
he's a deep character because you can tell with his interactions with Cortana, he does have depth to him and he does have compassion. He does have that, but I think a lot of times people aren't used to kind of like he's a hard character. You have to understand he's basically bred for war and killing. That was the whole point of these guys, right? So he's not going to be like an emotional, like up and down voice kind of guy. He's kind of like a no BS, straightforward guy. I mean, that's what you get with a lot of military. And I think that's what they really portrayed in him really well. But I also think you can see him kind of those layers slowly get peeled back. I think the Arbiter's very unique too. I think he's one that stands out in Halo too. I know all the elites stand out, but he's one that I would argue he has a very deep story compared to Master Chief. Once you know about Reach, I think you start feeling like, oh, Master Chief has a lot more going on. Um, but the Arbiter, I think, had a really cool story where got dishonored, became just this like shameful being, then just ended up, when the elites got betrayed by the brutes, kind of ended up just re-becoming a leader. I think that was a really cool arc to watch him go from screwing up to kind of repositioning himself. So, no, I think Halo has some pretty cool. For FPS, it's pretty good. Like I think it's easy for RPGs to have really good stories and characters, and it's really hard for FPS
Yeah.
to do that. And the fact that a lot of FPS from that time did have good characters, I think like Woods from Black Ops. I know that dude because he was crazy. Like I remember him. Yeah, I think they had some really good characters for those FPS games, especially in Gears. But
That's a good point. Like some of the other really good characters I think of are not from RPGs, and as a result, they're not iconic in my mind because of their character. More, it's the character design and
mm,
like the aesthetic, as some people would say.
yeah, as I used to like
But
to say.
two of them that I was thinking of are Captain Falcon,
Oh
ridiculously
my
iconic.
gosh.
Like again, when you just think of character design, like
Oh,
everybody knows him. Like in a game made of iconic characters from other video games, he
yeah.
is pretty much the most iconic character in the game of iconic video game
It's because of
characters
his
all
punch,
fighting each
dude.
other.
People will never forget the Falcon punch, dude. He just
It's so cool. It's
like
so cool.
that is 100% his catch line is so catchy. It's like kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger's all of his like super catchy like one-liners and all of his action movies. That's anytime I hear Captain Falcon, dude. Like people quote that. Like, I hear kids, they'll be like Falcon punch, and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. Like I remember thinking that when I was their age. Like, yep.
Did you know that in like the F-Zero games, apparently Captain Falcon's powers are powered by faith in Jesus Christ?
What?
I'm serious.
What?
I'm like literally not
No
joking.
way, really?
And
That's I didn't know
and
that.
like
No.
the main villains are like Satan.
What? What?
So his Falcon
What?
Punch is literally the spirit of God. I'm not
What?
joking. Yeah.
No. I gotta look this up now, dude. What? What?
It's pretty awesome.
What? What? No.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can look it up, but anyway,
What?
um
No, my gosh, it's true. What? No, dude.
yeah.
What?
He's like ridiculously based. Like
What?
I love it. Um,
Just blew my
one more.
mind, dude. What the
I
freak,
think
man?
I think the runner-up to Captain Falcon in Super Smash, which is again a collection of like already iconic characters into one game, and then who climbs that mountain, right? I think another really good one is Samus,
Oh yeah, Samus is super iconic.
and it's like
Well, are you just
super
saying
cool.
armored Samus or Zero Suit Samus? Are you a bit jaded on this one? I got some. Yeah,
Hey,
I'm just kidding.
it's all one package, okay?
So,
It's all the
oh my
same
gosh.
person. But it's like the Samus suit is super cool. Like the idea of like a
Hmm.
gun on your arm, like very iconic, very cool.
Didn't take that from
And
Mega Man or anybody, but
look, there's
who did it
other
better?
people, but
Who did
Samus.
it
See,
better?
this is why Samus is interesting, is because it's a woman doing it,
Yeah,
and it's actually so
that's true.
it's like a twist on like what you would expect because you can't like
Hmm.
totally tell when she's in
Oh,
the
I
suit.
think people debated it
Um,
until they figured, like, they just decided to canonize it. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think it's another it's like a cool take on something that's already cool, like a well done version of it, and then they twist it a
Mm.
little bit and it becomes just endlessly iconic.
Mm.
So
Wow.
I don't know
Dang.
if wrapping up here,
I
if you
got
have
two.
any character you remember.
Knights of the Old Republic, I'd have to say Darth Revan was super good. Not that you do get to play as him, but or whatever in the first one. I don't know if they canonized what gender Darth Revan ever was, but Darth Revan is super cool. I thought that was a really cool character. Just how you start as a dark Jedi, Dark Lord, lose your memory because your apprentice blows your ship up. And then you train with the Jedi, get your memory back, and then you can choose. but then his whole like their whole story just continues onward. Um, I really liked Darth Revan. I think it was really iconic, first person to have like a red and purple like dual lightsaber. The mask was really cool because we were like I feel like Star Wars having a hard time making a new villain that wasn't Darth Vader because they had like Darth Malak with his like half Darth Vader getup. I feel like Darth Revan was really cool because he's or they I don't okay I always played as a dude so I'm just going with that. My Darth Revan was like
I'm pretty sure he's a dude in the
is it a
book.
dude? Okay, is it a dude? I
In the
couldn't
book,
remember.
yeah.
Okay, we'll just okay. So Darth
His
Revan to
book's
me
great.
I have okay yes in the book it's the Darth Revan book with the green lightsaber on the front right where
Yeah,
he gets
yeah, yeah,
betrayed at the end. Okay, so
yeah.
I have read this. I want to okay. I think Darth Revan's really cool because it kind of is there. He's more of a strategist, a strategy based Sith Lord. He's not just your like kind of typical angry dude. He's really quiet too, but on the same token, he's a really good lightsaber duelist because in all the like comics and stuff through the Mandalorian Wars and whatnot, he like just destroyed people. And it was crazy to learn that his mask is a Mandalorian mask, and that's why he went against the Jedi because he watched them get killed. I think Darth Revan is just like a character that shows when you have like a bigger group of a council like that is kind of doing their own thing and they're not maybe doing the best things. It really shows how like that can grate on a person when they're watching these atrocities happen and then they're just like, I'm done with you. Like I'm gonna go take care of this myself. And then they all get exiled because he it's kind of like he did the what you could consider the right thing, but he got the bad consequence. And then he was just like, you know what? I can do this better than the Sith. And then he does do it better than the Sith. Like he just was like I love Darth Revan. I feel like Darth Revan is like the top kind of villain, hero, villain, whatever he is, character. I love that one. And then my other one is from Zelda. And this took me a hard long time to like nail down because I feel like there's a lot of iconic characters in Zelda. Link's iconic, Zelda's iconic, Ganondorf's iconic. Ganondorf's the like a terrible villain. I think he's one of the worst villains ever. Like the poor dude just sucks, but he just keeps getting thrown into the same. He's worse than Sauron, dude. Like I think Sauron sucks, but like he's worse because he just keeps coming up and he's like, I'm gonna take over Hyrule again, and it's like, dude, this is like reincarnation 3000. Like I think they just need to write a prophecy that tells the poor guy, dude, go take a coffee break. Don't do this. It ain't ever gonna work. But actually, the my one of the best characters in that is Midna from Twilight Princess
Mm,
because I think of Midna going from just a huge character arc in that game from kind of this banished imp form where has all these emotions on the inside that she keeps reserved and kind of acts tough on the outside, but as her and Link's journey through kind of opens up and she forms like a really some people argue it's like a romantic relationship between them. Some people don't, whatever you want to believe. But they can you can tell for sure they develop like this bond of trust where she really starts opening up and then kind of backpedals because like oh opened up too far. Open up, which is I think really realistic for a lot of people when you have had some sort of trauma or hardship you want to open up to people, but you also fear too much openness, and then you retreat, retreat, and then to see at the end where she confronts Ganondorf, and then you think she dies, but then she doesn't die, but she gets cured out of her imp form, and she's the Twilight Princess, and she looks entirely different than when she's in this like imp form, and then you see this when she was in the imp form, she's kind of like immature to whatever to by the time at the end of the game, she's pretty much well ready and okay with this idea of going back to the Twilight Realm and becoming a leader for all the Twilight people. I mean, I think that's a huge change in development of character because at first you just see her and she's kind of this like creepy imp that you don't really know what to do, and you're in the Twilight Realm as a wolf, and you're kind of like, ooh, don't know if we like this, like. And then at the end, you're like, wow. Like I remember when I was a kid, I was 12 when I played that game, dude. And at the end, when she went away, I was like distraught a little bit, like not like a lot, but I was like, oh my gosh, it like kind of hurt inside to like have journeyed with this character who now goes to the Twilight Realm, destroys it, and there's no way of seeing them ever again. Like I was like, oh, that sucks. Like I wanted them to make a sequel where you go and like rebuild it and
Mm.
save her, or like just go back to at least see her once, dude. I was like, no. I remember that as a kid, dude. It was like I thought this was a happy ending game, man. Like I killed Ganondorf with this cool move, and now I lose. Like what? Yeah, I think she's one of the best characters in Zelda. Because I think Zelda's iconic with a lot of characters, but I think it doesn't have a lot of amazing, like good standout characters. But I think she's S tier of Zelda easily.
Yeah, I mean, like Link is obviously iconic, um, but doesn't do it for me as much as some of these other ones.
Yeah, no, Link is
Like,
not iconic. He's iconic, but he's really like an insert for the player, to be 100% honest. That's what
right,
Link
right,
is. Um,
yeah,
and that's why I went with Midna, because I feel like Zelda is very princess tropey, and the newer games are getting more away from that, whereas Ganondorf is just like
yeah.
flatlined consistently the same garbage.
Ganondorf's way cooler in Super Smash than he is in
Dude,
Zelda games.
I
Like,
feel I really want a Zelda game where like you beat him at the end and then like you go to actually kill him and then he just kills you and you're just like like just done,
unexpected.
dude. You just lose. Like there's no way to win. Like I just wish they had that like just once to throw all the fans off because it's getting so predictable at this point. Like yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Skull Kid's the best villain in Zelda in Majora's Mask. He's just like a
Mm.
little wood imp with a really twisted deity mask on. He wants to smash this whole town and world with the moon, dude. Like I think he's another good villain. So yeah, no, that'd be my best Zelda character. But anywho,
Those are good ones. Should we wrap it up here?
yeah, no. Thank you guys for watching. It's hope you enjoyed what we've been talking about. If you disagree, if you agree with us, or if you have some characters you would like to insert into like, feel free to comment. If you like what we're doing, feel free to subscribe to our videos. Check out the rest of our channels. We also have links to books and other goodies below, so check those out too.
Yeah, thanks everyone.